Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to a highly anticipated video. I'm just kidding. I forgot to do this last month, and here we are. It's November 8th, and just now getting around to the recap financially for September through October. As we inch closer to the end of the year, that's a good time for reflection on how the finances are doing. And also, we kind of prepare for tax season next year because we're going to be filing taxes on the sports card mainly through eBay Business here. And just to recap, if you're new, I developed this application to save me a bunch of time on my own accounting, really to analyze business performance and understand how close am I to breaking even, which is really my goal. I'm trying to use the hobby to fund the hobby. I'm trying to, business wise profit and then turn those profits and use those for some personal use cards that are in my collection and stuff that I just enjoy. So that's kind of why I do this. And last year I had a tough enough time with taxes that I'm trying to automate most of that. So zero prep. I did not prepare for this. All I did was downloaded the transactions report from eBay. And then I have my Google Sheet related to anything I sell off eBay as well as my purchases. And then my pirate ship report, which has a handy dandy export button into an Excel file. So I just do this, try to do it every Friday, every other Friday, and then record, once a month, but really trying to get deeper than the eBay dashboard. So this is a great start. If you're using this, this is awesome. So you can see I'm just shy of 15 grand revenue on eBay. I do sell elsewhere, such as X, such as Reddit, etc. And so, there's, we're close to 15 grand on eBay, which is nice, but the grand total for this year is a little bit higher. So this is cool. And it's a helpful dashboard, and it shows, a few different trends. November's looking rough, not looking good for me. I do have some auctions ending tomorrow that will boost that up. But in any case, that's kind of where we're at, and we're trying to get more in depth. So enough of that preamble. That's the gist of this website. You can see a couple ways to do it. Cash accounting versus accrual. I think both tell a story. Right now, we're just looking at September through October. And then I'll do some year-to-date numbers, but down for the past 2 months, and this is largely because of a big ol' purchase. Purchased a complete parallel set of 2022 Topps, the Orange Star variety, which ran me over $1,000. Kind of a risky purchase. Also a long-term purchase. These are things that not too many folks know about, but I have 660 of them. They have a print run of 99, and they're hard to come by. Most of the ones, I listed the whole set. I used my Hits Lister program to get all those listed just within a couple of days. And so they're all listed outside of select few that I'm sending in for grading. And, mine are pretty much the only available ones for sale. So I can really get selective on who I sell to and not feel inclined to accept offers. But that big purchase, which was on thereabouts October 17th, that explains this big ol' red cash flow in the month of October, which was calculated. I had the cash on hand. I'm not going into debt on any of this, right? This is paid for with my reserves. And so even though I'm down over the 2 months, all stuff I can stomach. But as far as revenue goes, some people like to think October is a slow month. Maybe that's true. I really was busy. I didn't have a ton of time to even list stuff, and we still did pretty well. September to October coming in over $1,000. Over $1,200 actually on in both months, which is good. That's kind of my goal. If I can sell $1,000 revenue a month, and hopefully have a few good months on top of that, that's pretty good. In terms of top sales, you can see here, top sales here. We got bulk lot that I sold actually on X, and so that is that right there, and sold that on X lot, big old Topps Gold bulk lot, which is nice to shed inventory there. I did sell, as I mentioned in my last couple videos, been selling off some stuff that's in the past been more or less for my personal collection, but I've decided to really narrow in and focus. And so all these cards I've acquired over the past couple of years, David Ortiz, a few other Dominican players too, a collector collecting Topps Golds. Real nice lot there. Nice $130 plus shipping deal there. Did sell a box of cards. I did experiment a bit with selling wax, selling unopened product. I don't know if I'll keep that up. It just takes a lot of cash up front, and the margins are, not great because there's a lot out there. But big revenue boost there, which is nice. And then going down, a lot of these are, some either nice flips or stuff I've held on to for a little bit and have just decided to narrow in and, zoom in. So like this Bonds, for example, I bought that last year and I probably paid $35 for it. My revenue here was close to 55, and after fees, made $10, and I got to enjoy the card for a year, so that's fun. Kind of took a loss on some Ivan Rodriguez cards. Got a little trigger happy on buying 3 different autographs a few months back, and decided to sell all those. And you can see I probably paid $50 on average for the 3. This one clocked in on the lower side. I did have one that was a nicer sale months back, but you can't win them all, and at some point you need to sell at a loss. That's a key lesson I've learned in my several years of doing this, and breaking even or making a profit, is you got to sell at a loss sometimes, and that's okay. So you can go down here. One goal, this I should probably put in a chart, but I've really been trying to increase my average revenue per order. So basically the order value. And this really stems from the eBay fee structure. And I'll show you a chart here in a second to I've shown this before, but really to illustrate that when you're messing with these $2, $3, $4 orders, you're really sending a lot of money to the house. And so if you have any cost basis into the card you're selling, you're really taking home very, very little. But as that order value increases, the amount that's going to the platform of eBay in the form of fixed fees and variable fees, it starts to asymptote around that 13%-ish mark. So that we'll get into, but this is actually pretty good progress. You can see I got plenty of stuff selling at low values. Down here, like this 160 is a bit misleading because it was part of a 2-card order. So the actual order value is closer to $4 or something. But at any point, this is where you don't want to play. This is the stuff that really, really, you take home very, very little. But this is, in previous months, would have been maybe the bulk of my transactions. And so really encouraging. I really should plot this out. But to see these, higher order value type cards where, I'm selling stuff in the $10 range, 10 plus, more frequently, which is really good. You have more, more leeway with the numbers and the margins, with these higher dollar orders compared to the, super low dollar orders. So, with that in mind, we talked revenue. Let's talk cost for the past 2 months. And of course, the big bulk here was that massive lot that I bought for roughly $2 a card, but 2 times 660 plus cards for complete set is a healthy amount. So overhead very low. Not much supplies there. Cost of goods. This is where we saw that big increase month over month from September to October. All right, we're going to jump here to the Sales Explorer. And this is where we see the efficiency of a lot of these orders for the past 2 months, September and October. And so let's sort this highest to lowest, but like that, and this is only looking at eBay, I should say. I don't calculate the stuff outside of eBay, but like the biggest profit I had was on that lot of Topps Gold cards. And yeah, the total price was $130 plus shipping, but once you factor in the fees and such, and I haven't factored in my pirate ship shipping label for this one, which was, $6, but that was my best performing profit listing for the past 2 months, and that was mid-October. So you can see here from this curve, like that, there it is right there. We're talking an efficiency of close to 88%, which is really nice. It's about as good as you can get when you talk about being a top-rated seller and the fees involved. So very efficient, more money to me, less money to eBay, and best place to play with your margins. Now down here, this is where we're getting to, really weak performance. Like this one, it looks like it sold for $2.28. And heck, let me just filter this to the bottom. But Matt LaCroix, you factor in $2.28 sale price, 30-cent fixed fee, 27-cent final value fee, and then a label cost average of $1.48. This, man, why did I spend $2 on that? I want to say this one had some shipping issue or something with that, but you can see this is like double, 2 labels of sorts. So it's also possible that I had enough cards to split into 2 ESEs. In any case, you can see the outlier here, very inefficient. I got 10% of that gross sale back in my pocket. In this curve, the reason why it's so predictable, it looks clean, is because it's literally just math based on eBay's fee structure. And then, the fixed value fee for cards under $10 is 30 cents. And so that's what these are. And so even if you get as close to that $10 as possible, so this is $9, and then of course they do all the math based on what the buyer pays. So, tax on top of the gross sale is what keeps this under $10. But I'm getting 76% of that sale price back in my pocket. But it becomes more efficient as I sell, multiple items. And so like this is really efficient, and I sold 6 or so Buster Posey cards in the same transaction, which is why that final value fee is only an average of 13 cents for this one. So key lessons here, you don't want to be hovering this low amount because that fixed fee of 30 cents just crushes the percentages. And then ideally you can see even a quick dip here, like technically this one, the sale price was $9.49, but because with taxes that took the buyer over $10, the final value fee bumped from 30 cents to 40 cents. And so this is actually less efficient than if I would have sold it for less money, less efficient. That at the end of the day, it's still absolute dollars and cents that you want to take home, but it's just kind of funny to see this little blip here. But these are single card orders, and then everything up here for the most part is multi-card orders. That is more efficient. So, always good to see those. But with that, let's take a quick jump to the personal collection in the months of September and October. I recap these in my kind of highlight videos just to show what I kept, but this was all the stuff I spent on the personal collection. Biggest one being probably an overpayment, but these things are rare, and I really, really enjoy red refractors. So just bit the bullet and spent $90 and some change on a red refractor of my guy Brenton Doyle, which is fun. I also sent in to the Nolan Ryan Foundation for a through the mail autograph. So sent a fun 2009 short print card in. Actually, no, 2009. I think it's 2009. I need to update my Google Sheet, and then that will update here. But in any case, $13 for the card, $75 for the signature, and still waiting on that. And then this, I should probably find a different way to write this out of my numbers. But Travis, if you're watching here, I spent $73 on your birthday present. So that also is kind of out of this personal type budget. And then going down the list, you've seen these in the recaps, but a few low dollar things here and there, some Adam Wainwright and some other cards for in-person autographs. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and bounce this to year to date through the end of October, through Halloween. Better story here. So in terms of cash accounting, we're slightly negative. If we jump to accrual here, we're actually slightly positive. And this just means I haven't been, or, by the time that October 31st came around, I wasn't paid out by eBay for some stuff that had sold. And if you look at this calendar here, I would have gotten paid, I think, on November 4th. And so all of this stuff that, we hadn't seen the exact exchange of cash, but I'm still technically earning it. It just hasn't paid to me yet. That would have, hit my books on November 4th via cash accounting. So good news here. And that means we're in the green on our business. This is not counting personal purchases. I do have some work to do. This is also counting the beginning of November, so not a perfect synergy with these charts above, but just in how we're looking, we're net profit on the counting inventory when it's sold is roughly 13%, which is pretty cool. And then I have roughly, this is really loosey-goosey math. I don't have to really get this in ink until tax season, but we're at about $2,000 in inventory, which actually seems about right. So hence the estimate piece. I think it's fairly accurate. And so basically what this means is as part of revenue, spend about 9% of that on overhead. And after it's all said and done, after we're factoring in adjustments and stuff, we're at about 13% net profit margin, which is pretty good for a small business here. And then business cash flow, this suggests we are up. We are positive this year with about $17,000 plus in gross receipts, and we're trying to break even. That's the goal. With the only kind of asterisk is I'd like to pay off my personal collection stuff, with these funds, and also with things like credit card rewards, which I apply to my personal collection purchases. So we kind of got a tough thing, a little uphill battle to combat this. It's not the end of the world if this is slightly negative. It's for myself. I have the cash to do it, in my account and stuff. So this isn't debt. But what this means is after factoring business profits and income related to what I'm doing, I would love to recoup about $1,200 more, which I think is possible, but also it's going to be tough because I have 33 cards that just got submitted to PSA, and with their current wait times, I'm probably not going to get those back until January. And so this inventory, this $2,000 in inventory, a good chunk of that is held up in the grading process. So we might see an overall negative value, which, was not my goal going into 2025, but based on the timing of things, based on some of the stuff I've picked up, and the fact that I have the cash to do this, is, I'm happy. So, more or less what this says is I have $1,200 out of pocket to get $1,700 for my personal collection and $2,000 in inventory, which is cool. So still feeling good about this, still like our position, just, not sure we're going to get this number past zero for 2025. But we're going to keep on trucking. You can see here, this is really the style of my business is as I'm, nailing down these processes and understanding how to do things more efficiently and better and spending less time on accounting and more time on acting on the data and what I see, I can make these kind of aggressive purchases based on my cash position and my business performance. And so this kind of trend, you can see it's gradually up. It's positive for the year as far as business profit goes, and we're making some aggressive purchases from time to time. Some have worked out, some haven't, but that's really where I want to be is comfort to make riskier decisions that I say are riskier just because of the steep decline, but they're sound. They're based on, subject matter expertise and some data. And so I can, comfortably spend over $1,000 on cards and then, recoup things somewhat quickly. So that's the goal. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll be back at it here, 3-ish weeks to capture November, which is going to have some fun updates even I've seen here in the first 8 days of the month. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.